So, but we got one more program. Mr. David over here is going to be running a clinic, and he told me about this program a couple months ago, and I thought it was super cool because this population is some of the coolest human beings on the freaking planet.
I'll give a little bit of my origin and I'll go further into it later, but I'm a Marine Corps brat. So growing up, my father and my uncles were Marines. I also have a brother-in-law who's in the Army, a cousin now who just got out of the Air Force. He finally just got out. And I've gotten to meet a lot of cool guys during that whole time growing up. And one of them actually was General Mattis. I don't know if you know who General Mattis is. He was, I've gotten to meet a lot of these guys, and I've realized they don't just have like mental health issues, a lot of them, but they're also suffering from the physical health side. And there's nothing really out there to help out entirely other than just go to the gym, work out. And these guys have such intense mindsets that sometimes when I see their training, I'm like, dude, that's why your body's feeling so bad too. Like you're just making it worse. But there is a sense of like their time in service that does do a lot of damage to their body. And so with this clinic, my whole goal is I just want to provide back to you guys, give back to the community and say thank you for your service. And at the end of the day, there is a way to start promoting better joint health from all the rucking you guys were doing and stuff and anything else you had to do in that career of that enlistment. And yeah, because for me as an athlete, I know what it's like to have what people might even consider career-ending injuries, to have life-altering injuries.
Yeah.
And I hate that feeling of being limited. It's not a great feeling to feel limited. So when I got to work with you, kind of going further in my origin, that's why I reached out to Henry, was because he helped me realize that there's a way to not feel limited anymore that other trainers don't always use. And so that's why I've reached out to Henry, and Henry's put me in the right direction of understanding, hey, there's a way to get things back. There's ways to get range of motion back. There's ways to heal these injuries and get back to doing what you're doing without the pain. Like, sure, there's a certain sense of like once you injure something, it's never going to be its maximum potential anymore, but we can get you to a way better potential than what you would have been without this anyways. So that's the whole goal is within these clinics going forward. I want to make this a future thing if it does well, where it's just veterans coming out for free. No charge, again, just giving back to the community and just trying to give you guys a little bit of help on those joints and make you guys feel a little bit better, go on those runs. I know my dad, for example, he's one of the guys I work with, and he was having knee problems. He was having back pains, shoulder pains, because he was a radio reconnaissance and all, so he jumped out of planes. He had all the fun when he was in, but now he's suffering from it, and now he's telling me, dude, I'm going on runs, and I don't know, that knee pain I used to have isn't there anymore. Dude, that shoulder pain is going away now, like from just doing these basic things I'm having him do, and then the sessions that we also do. And for me, that's an awesome feeling, not just to get myself feeling better, but to know that it can also work for these guys who have endured a lot on their body and strains. And so, yeah, once I realized that, I was like, I got a soft spot for these guys. I've grown up all around them. Like, a lot of these guys are great guys. You know, they genuinely have a good heart, but in the Marine Corps, you got to be hard, you got to be tough. And they provide for the families, and they're always trying to be there, right? And trying to do the right thing. And to feel like I can give back to that community is a great deal. And that's the plan.
That's super exciting. We love our military, and you know, the sacrifice these guys are doing. My dad was military. That's how I ended up in California. My dad was, I'm originally from New York. Well, I was born there. I was there till I was like 4, if that counts. But my dad was stationed out here in California, and then we ended up staying out here. My cousins are all military. I actually tried to go into the military. I tried to get into the Marine Officer program when I was 18 years old, and I tore my labrum. So that ended it for me. And because I was injured, I said, well, what am I going to do for this year that I'm waiting around to heal before I can go try out again? Let me try some personal training.
That's funny. I never knew that. I never knew this about him. And I've shared how I just started off my career, which was exactly the same. And he never thought to share that with me. Because for you guys that don't know, I earlier this year in February was medically discharged from boot camp. And same exact instance, I was trying to figure out, I had to wait X amount of time before I could do a re-enlistment, and was trying to figure, like, let's see if there's anything else out there. Maybe this is life trying to say something, right? You never know. and reached out to Coach Henry. And ever since then, it's been nonstop, just realizing everything I learned in the past that wasn't from him was pretty much wrong. And just figuring out how to make myself better, one, right? Physically, and then two, just give back in any way I can to whoever it is. It doesn't have to be just veterans, but whether it's athletes who have gone through the same thing, maybe they're in a program that taught them bad habits and now they're getting injured from it, giving back to them, or it's veterans who have unfortunately sustained a lot of damage to their injuries, whether it's amputees who need the extra help, especially because those guys have to sometimes, if their legs are gone, they're using their arms like their legs on a daily basis. And so for them, it's even more important for them not to keep up on that joint. But yeah, just giving back to anyone that needs it and wants it.
It's such a good community. I have some experience working with a lot of military over the years. I've worked a lot because they're all banged up. When they tell me they're military, I'm like, let me guess, lower back, knees, maybe some foot pain. They're like, how did you know? I'm like, lucky guess.
Lucky guess.
Lucky guess.
Those boots
and
suck.
they're some of the nicest guys in the world. These military guys, one of my best friends, he's in the military, he's in the Air Force. His name's Nick. And they're sacrificing time away from their families for our beautiful country, right?
Yeah.
And then it's not just the physical, the emotional sacrifice, being away from their family, but the physical, how their bodies are being taxed. I've trained with many amputees as well. Even in jiu-jitsu, I've worked with I trained jiu-jitsu with some amputees, some of the nicest guys in the world, and they're funny as hell. I remember one time, I'll never forget this, where we were after class, we were having small talk and we were talking about knees. At the time I had popped my knee, popped my LCL. That's fun. And everyone's like, oh, I got a bad knee too. And it became this discussion about like having bad knees. And one of the guys that was there, he's an amputee from the knee up. He makes a statement. He goes, oh man, I wish I had a bad knee. And we were like, we didn't know if we were supposed to laugh. Yeah. And then, he was making light of the situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I will never complain about having a bad knee. But these are the nicest guys you ever met. There's this other guy I train with now. His name's Wally, and he's missing an arm and a leg on opposite sides, got blown up. And nicest guy you ever met. When he grabs you, it's scary. I mean, the guy has really, really good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, and I've heard a little bit of their stories and, what it does to their head, the PTSD, all those different things. So when you told me about like, man, I want to work with the military, I said, man, dude, that's awesome. Because outside of the VA, there's not a lot of programs for them. It's like, okay, let's put some dirt on it. Here's some ibuprofen, get back out there. And then all of a sudden, 20 years later, they get out of the military and they're not, the VA does the best they can, right? I'm not 100% familiar with that program. What I do know is from what I've been told from prior military, they're like, dude, they don't do anything. They're not helping me. The rehab's not very good. I'm just like, so when you brought up like, hey, I want to help this population, the military, I was like, well, dude, I love the military.
Yeah.
And those guys need it more than anybody. So I thought that was really exciting. And when's that first clinic?
It's going to be January 18th at 10 a.m. over at Icon Fitness in Marietta. And it's free. And going into the family part too, having grown up as a Marine Corps brat, I know what it's like to have a dad gone in combat zones. I know what it's like to not have a father figure around. Maybe even just like if someone has maybe a mother who's in and they have to go and they have to leave on deployments all the time and stuff. It's not easy, right? And so the plan is to get back to the kids too, as long as the wives. So for this clinic on January 18th at 10 a.m., we're going to be doing, it's not just for veterans, but it's also for their spouses. And if they have a caregiver, you're more than welcome to bring them. Everyone comes in for free. And then eventually, if it does well enough and there's enough kids that want to get involved, I want to do something for the kids too. Because at the end of the day, I want to bring that community together. They all understand it, right? Having someone that maybe they can even just talk to and communicate with and have an understanding of what that process is like. And I feel like I understand what that process is like and what the hardships kind of come with it when you go a year or two at a time without someone being home and your mom's got to do all that extra work. So for the moms or for the dads who have, their spouses in the military, I've seen that end of it and I know how much work you guys put in. And so I also want to make sure you guys get involved, get the love and care you guys need to.
Awesome. That's awesome. And just to kind of wrap it up a little bit, our ultimate goal is to make impact, right? So we've kind of shared a little bit of insight into David's program, some of the programs we got going on. But the reality is, no matter how hard we try, we can't get everybody. We can't impact everybody. And that's the motivation behind this podcast. We know there's a lot of businesses out there that are
Yep.
working with kids, working with military, and they're impacting their lives. And if we can team up and just expose like these guys, like, hey man, these guys are awesome. Like we want anybody who's helping kids, they're making a difference, not just in the kids' lives, but they're making a difference in the community. Those
Oh,
are
yeah.
the type of guests that we want on our podcast.
Yeah.
Because David and I can't help everybody. We can't impact everybody, right? But if we get a team and we say, hey, let's find all the people that are having a similar goal, a similar vision, that's the motivation behind our podcast is getting guests in here to let them know what they're doing and how they're helping people. And then if it fits with you, like you mentioned the military thing, if you guys are like a military, if you're a youth athlete and your parents are in the military, go talk to David, go train with him. We want relatable, but we also know you're going to have situations where neither one of us can help you. But we're
Yeah.
like, hey, but we know this guy in Temecula over here. He can help you. He's familiar with the situation. So whether you guys are trainers, whether you're an athletic organization, whether you're a sporting organization, we can talk about our own experiences, but we want you on here. And we know that together we can make a bigger impact. And that's
Oh, yeah.
our ultimate goal with this podcast.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the thing me and Henry both, I think we can say agree on is we're going to do our absolute best to be the best person, to be the best trainer, father, son we can possibly be, but we're never going to be great everywhere. We can be the best we can be in all those places, but you might, like you said, we specialize maybe in speed, we specialize maybe in strength, maybe we specialize, I have the background of Marine Corps brat who understands what it's like to have a dad gone. So just like how you were saying, like if we don't have the answer for you and it's not an area we're the best at and we know we want to give you the best experience possible, I believe we have the humble ability to say, hey, I just don't know that answer for you, but I want to make sure you get the right answer and not what I think is the right answer. And I know this person can. So we're always going to be trying to give back out and just make sure you get the right help you actually need, no matter what. Even if it means we don't get to work with you, that's okay.
That's not our goal.
That's not our goal.
We're outnumbered, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the issue with a lot of people that do what we do, trainers, PTs, doctors, chiropractors, all that, there's this, they're always competing, right? But the reality is, like, if you took all of us and put us together in a room, and then you took the entire Temecula, Murrieta, even Riverside, you took that whole valley, like we're outnumbered by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, what's the point of working, like competing, like, oh, I'm better than David, don't train with him, or our basketball program is better than their basketball program, or our football. Like, I think it's nonsense.
Yeah.
And as long as we have this vision of like impacting kids and helping the next generation, and we understand that no one of us can do it by ourselves, and we all need each other. And if we kind of connect our brains together and we like attack that vision, together, we can make
Yeah.
that bigger impact. So that's the purpose of the podcast. Is if you guys want to train with us, cool. If you want to train with somebody else, or maybe we know we got a PT coming on, and I believe next week or the next couple of weeks we have a strength coach, we got baseball coaches, we got a lot of pretty cool people that I respect and trust.
Yeah.
If we can't help you, we can at least help you by being like, okay, go that way. That's the guy you want to go talk to.
Yeah.
So that's our ultimate goal. So we thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we were able to shed a little more light into our or insight into our vision and a little bit about us.
And who we are and why it is we do what we do.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess until next time.